January 3rd, 2026, will be remembered as the night Carmelo Hayes stopped being future potential and became present reality through a performance so polished, so strategically brilliant, so undeniably main event ready that it forced WWE to immediately recalibrate their plans for him. The January 3rd Smackdown was absolutely stacked with significant programming. Women's wrestling delivered with Jade Cargill's dominant victory over Bayley. The unexpected alliance between Bron and Seth Rollins created chaos in the men's division, and Royal Rumble implications were developing across multiple storylines. Yet somehow, in the midst of all that star power and established names, the match that has generated the most sustained conversation and debate in the days following SmackDown wasn't a main event featuring established stars or championship implications, but rather a midcard match positioned in the second hour that featured two performers many casual fans might not immediately recognize. The Miz, the veteran multi-time champion whose longevity and consistency have made him one of WWE's most reliable performers despite never being the guy, and Carmelo Hayes, the former NXT standout who's been on the main roster for months, but hasn't yet broken through to the level his obvious talent suggests he's capable of reaching. What these two men delivered was nothing short of a wrestling clinic, 23 minutes of technical excellence and storytelling that reminded everyone watching why professional wrestling at its best transcends athletics and becomes art. But more importantly, this match represented something crucial for WWE's future. The moment when a developmental talent definitively proved they belonged on the main roster not through potential or highlights, but through sustained excellence in a high-pressure situation against a crafty veteran specifically designed to expose weaknesses in less experienced opponents. The question everyone needs to ask themselves is profound and forward-looking. Did we just witness the birth of WWE's next breakout star, or was this one exceptional performance that will be followed by regression to the mean as the pressure and expectations of consistent main roster excellence prove too much? Let me reconstruct how this match came about, because the setup reveals interesting things about WWE's approach to developing talent and creating opportunities for performers to prove themselves. Carmelo Hayes has been on the main roster since late 2025, appearing primarily on SmackDown in matches against various mid-card opponents. His record has been solid but not spectacular, mostly victories against lower-card talent, competitive losses against more established performers. The kind of win-loss pattern that suggests management sees potential but hasn't committed to a full push yet. The frustration was visible in Carmelo's recent promos and backstage segments, where he's been increasingly vocal about feeling underutilized despite having proven himself as NXT champion and despite possessing obvious charisma, in-ring ability, and the complete package of skills that should translate to main roster success. The setup for this match began with a backstage segment early in the SmackDown broadcast where Carmelo approached Adam Pearce, SmackDown's general manager, with a direct request: "I want a match tonight against someone who will force me to prove I belong at this level. Not another match against someone building their own resume. Not another competitive loss that's supposed to make me look good in defeat. I want a match against an established veteran who everyone respects, and I want the opportunity to beat them clean and make WWE management notice that Carmelo Hayes isn't just future potential, I'm ready right now." The directness was refreshing and played into the meta-narrative about Carmelo's career trajectory, acknowledging the frustration that fans who've followed him from NXT share about his main roster booking. Pearce's response was measured, but created immediate intrigue. "You want to prove yourself against an established veteran? Fine. Tonight, you'll face The Miz. He's a multi-time champion, Grand Slam winner, someone who's been at every level WWE has to offer. He's also one of the best in this business at exposing opponents who aren't ready for the main roster spotlight. Beat The Miz convincingly, and we'll talk about your positioning going forward. But if you're not ready, if The Miz exposes gaps in your game, then maybe you need more time developing before we push you harder." Here's the first critical question that emerged from this setup. Was WWE genuinely testing Carmelo to determine his readiness, Or was this a predetermined showcase designed to elevate him regardless of actual performance? The answer wouldn't be clear until the match itself. But the framing created genuine investment in the outcome because it positioned the match as having real consequences for Carmelo's career trajectory rather than being just another match that happens, and then everyone moves on without anything changing. The Miz cut a promo responding to the match announcement that perfectly captured his character and role in this storyline. Carmelo Hayes wants to prove himself against The Miz? Adorable. I've been hearing about Carmelo Hayes for months, how talented he is, how much potential he has, how he's the future of WWE. And you know what I've learned after 16 years in this business? Potential means nothing. NXT success means nothing on the main roster where the pressure is different, where the expectations are higher, where one bad performance in front of millions of viewers can derail years of development. Tonight, I'm going to do what I've done to dozens of cocky NXT call-ups over the years. I'm going to expose the difference between being good in developmental and being excellent at WWE's highest level. And when I'm standing over Carmelo's defeated body tonight, maybe WWE management will finally stop wasting time and resources on the next big thing and start appreciating the reliable thing who's been delivering for over a decade. The promo was classic Miz. Equal parts arrogant and accurate, dismissive of Carmelo while also building him up as a serious challenge, creating heat for himself while also making the match feel significant. Carmelo's response, delivered in a backstage interview, showed growth in his promo delivery and character confidence. Miz talks about NXT success not meaning anything on the main roster. But here's what he doesn't mention. Every single person at the top of WWE right now came from somewhere. Roman Reigns came through developmental. Seth Rollins came through developmental. Even Miz himself came through a reality show and developmental before becoming the star he claims to be. So this narrative about NXT success not translating is just gatekeeping from veterans who are threatened by new talent that might expose them as past their prime. Tonight, I prove that Carmelo Hayes doesn't just have potential. I have present tense ability that's going to send The Miz back to the midcard where he belongs while I move up to the main event level where I belong. The back and forth created genuine heat and investment in what might have otherwise been a midcard match between performers not currently in championship contention. The positioning in the second hour of Smackdown, approximately 75 minutes into the broadcast, was significant because it wasn't thrown away in the opening segment where matches sometimes feel like warm-ups, nor was it positioned so late that only the most dedicated viewers would see it. This was primetime placement that suggested WWE viewed the match as important enough to feature prominently, but not so important that it would overshadow the main event or championship-related programming. The match began with traditional feeling-out sequences that immediately established character dynamics, Miz using veteran tactics and ring positioning to control pace, Carmelo using superior athleticism and speed to create openings when Miz tried to slow things down. The early sequences were technically excellent without being exhibition-style cooperation that breaks suspension of disbelief. Both men were clearly trying to win, using their respective advantages strategically, creating a chess match quality that engaged hardcore fans while remaining accessible enough for casual viewers to understand the story being told. Around the 6-minute mark, The Miz took control using heel tactics that are his trademark, thumb to the eye when the referee's view was blocked, pulling the tights during a pin attempt, using the ropes for leverage during submission holds. The tactics were classic Miz, playing to his character's arrogance and willingness to bend rules to maintain advantage. But here's where Carmelo demonstrated something crucial. Rather than getting flustered or derailed by the veteran's tactics, Carmelo adapted. When Miz tried the thumb to the eye again, Carmelo anticipated it and blocked, immediately transitioning to offense that caught Miz off guard. When Miz used rope leverage during a submission, Carmelo powered out through pure athleticism rather than relying on referee intervention. The second critical question emerged around the 12-minute mark. Would this match get sufficient time to tell a complete story, or would it be cut short to accommodate other programming? The answer was definitively positive. This match received 23 minutes of television time, more than many championship matches receive, demonstrating WWE's commitment to giving both performers the opportunity to showcase their abilities fully. The time allowed for proper pacing, multiple chapters in the story with momentum shifts and character development, near falls that felt earned through accumulated damage rather than being gratuitous kickouts, and a finish that felt like the natural culmination of everything that had been built throughout the match. The middle portion, roughly minutes 13 through 18, featured some of the best counter-wrestling and chain sequences seen on WWE television in weeks. Miz's signature offense was consistently countered by Carmelo's superior speed and innovative offense. Carmelo's high-flying attempts were grounded by Miz's veteran ring awareness and positioning. Neither man could establish sustained dominance, creating a perfectly balanced contest that had the crowd increasingly invested with every exchange. The commentary team, Michael Cole and Corey Graves, did excellent work putting over the significance of the match and what it meant for Carmelo's career, repeatedly emphasizing that this was his opportunity to prove himself against someone specifically designed to expose weaknesses in less experienced opponents. But around the 19-minute mark, something shifted that transformed this from an excellent match into a potential career-defining performance. The Miz, after hitting several signature moves without securing victory, began showing visible frustration. His heel tactics became more obvious and desperate, blatant rope grabbing during pin attempts, theatrical arguing with the referee, stalling tactics to recover when Carmelo had momentum. And Carmelo, rather than matching Miz's increasing desperation, became more focused and clinical. His offense became more targeted, working over Miz's legs to set up his submission finish. His selling became more strategic, demonstrating accumulated damage while still being capable of explosive offense when openings presented themselves. The crowd's reaction shifted noticeably during this portion of the match. What had started as typical mid-card audience engagement transformed into something resembling main event investment, with the crowd split between respect for Miz's veteran performance and excitement about Carmelo's potential breakout moment. The chants began organically. "Let's go Melo" / "Let's go Miz," creating that atmosphere of divided but equally passionate support that makes matches feel significant regardless of championship stakes. The finishing sequence began around the 21-minute mark and showcased both performers at their absolute best. Miz hit his skull-crushing finale, the move that's ended countless matches throughout his career, and covered Carmelo for what seemed like certain victory. The referee counted 1, 2, and Carmelo kicked out at the last possible moment, demonstrating resilience and star quality that can't be manufactured through booking alone. The crowd's reaction was explosive, genuine shock that Carmelo kicked out of Miz's finish, excitement about what this meant for the match's outcome, appreciation for the drama being created. Miz's expression was perfect. Disbelief transitioning to anger, transitioning to determination as he repositioned Carmelo for a second skull-crushing finale, clearly believing that one wasn't enough, but 2 consecutive finishers would end the match. But as Miz set up the move, Carmelo countered with a desperation roll-up that nearly got the 3 count, demonstrating ring awareness and opportunistic instinct that separates good performers from great ones. Both men scrambled to their feet, exhausted but driven by the awareness that they were creating something special. The actual finish came moments later when Miz charged at Carmelo for a clothesline, but Carmelo ducked under, caught Miz's arm, and transitioned immediately into a cutter, his nothing-but-net finishing move. That drove Miz face-first into the mat with devastating impact. Carmelo covered, hooking both legs and positioning himself to prevent any potential rope grabbing, demonstrating that he'd learned from observing Miz's tactics throughout the match. The referee counted 1, 2, 3. Carmelo Hayes had defeated The Miz clean in the center of the ring after 23 minutes of action, proving definitively that he belonged at WWE's main roster level and forcing immediate reevaluation of his positioning going forward. The crowd erupted with a reaction that was overwhelming and surprising in its intensity for what had been positioned as a mid-card match. Carmelo's music played as he celebrated in the ring, his emotion appearing genuine rather than performative. This clearly meant something significant to him beyond just another win. The Miz, selling the defeat and the exhaustion of the 23-minute match, slowly rolled out of the ring and walked up the ramp without attacking Carmelo or cutting a promo, allowing Carmelo his moment and implicitly acknowledging through his departure that Carmelo had earned the victory and the spotlight. But the story didn't end with the 3 count. The real significance emerged in the immediate aftermath that created instant speculation about Carmelo's future positioning. As Carmelo celebrated his victory, LA Knight's music hit, and the charismatic veteran appeared on the entrance ramp with a microphone and expression that mixed respect with challenge. "Carmelo Hayes, that was impressive. Genuinely impressive. You just beat The Miz clean in a 23-minute classic, proved you belong on the main roster, proved you've got that it factor everyone keeps talking about. Congratulations." The crowd, sensing where this was going, began buzzing with anticipation. But here's the thing, Mello, LA Knight continued, his tone shifting from congratulatory to challenging. Beating The Miz is one thing. Beating LA Knight is something completely different. Miz is a veteran who relies on experience and heel tactics to win matches. I'm a veteran who relies on being better than everyone else in that ring, on having more charisma, more ability, more everything than my opponents can match. So if you really want to prove you belong at the top of Smackdown, if you really want WWE management to take you seriously as a main event player, then you need to beat someone who's actually in main event conversation. You need to beat LA Knight. The challenge was direct and created immediate intrigue about a potential program between 2 of SmackDown's most charismatic performers. Carmelo, still in the ring catching his breath from his match with Miz, grabbed a microphone and responded without hesitation. "LA Knight, you want a match with Carmelo Hayes? You've got it. Name the time and place, and I'll prove that tonight wasn't a fluke or a one-time performance. I'll prove that Carmelo Hayes can beat anyone on this roster when given the opportunity." The acceptance created an instant feud and gave both performers clear direction heading toward Royal Rumble, where presumably they'd cross paths either in the Royal Rumble match itself or in a singles match on the card. The third critical question: has WWE actually committed to pushing Carmelo Hayes to a higher level, or was tonight's victory against Miz just a feel-good moment that won't translate to sustained elevation in booking? The answer came approximately an hour after SmackDown concluded when Triple H posted to social media, "Tonight, Carmelo Hayes proved he belongs at WWE's main roster level through performance, not through potential." When a performer delivers at that level against a veteran specifically designed to expose weaknesses, management notices. Expect to see much more of Carmelo Hayes in prominent positions going forward. He's earned it. The endorsement from Triple H himself carried significant weight and suggested that Carmelo's victory wasn't just a one-off good match, but rather represented WWE's commitment to elevating him to a higher position on the card. The immediate social media reaction from fans and fellow performers was overwhelmingly positive, with multiple people praising both the match quality and WWE's willingness to give Carmelo the platform to prove himself. Several veteran performers posted messages of congratulations, acknowledging that Carmelo had seized his opportunity and delivered when it mattered most. The Miz himself posted a message that added context and class to his role in Carmelo's breakout performance. "My job tonight was to test Carmelo Hayes and see if he was really ready for main roster main event level competition. He passed that test with flying colors. That match was excellent. Carmelo deserved the victory, and I'm genuinely excited to see where his career goes from here." Sometimes the veteran's job isn't to win, it's to help create the next generation of stars by giving them the opportunity to prove themselves. Mission accomplished tonight. The statement demonstrated the kind of selfless professionalism that's made Miz such a valuable part of WWE for over a decade, willing to lose in ways that elevate opponents rather than protecting his own position at all costs. But it also raised questions about Miz's own future positioning. Does losing to rising talent in competitive matches damage his own standing? Or does it actually enhance his reputation as someone reliable enough to be trusted with these important developmental matches? The fourth question, and this one has massive implications for Royal Rumble and WrestleMania season. Where does Carmelo Hayes fit into WWE's plans now that he's proven himself capable of main roster, main event level performance? The most obvious answer is the Royal Rumble match itself, where Carmelo would be a credible threat to win and earn a WrestleMania championship opportunity. His momentum coming off this victory would make him a legitimate contender rather than just another body filling one of the 30 spots. A strong showing in the Rumble, perhaps eliminating multiple established stars, lasting deep into the match, potentially even winning, would capitalize on the credibility he earned tonight and position him for a significant WrestleMania program, regardless of specific outcome. But there's also the potential singles match route,